Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Buckeye Films YouTube channel. Today, we're going to talk about in-house creative. If you're the one managing or operating the in-house video production or photography studio, you're going to want to listen to what we have to say. Today, we're going to talk about some of the tips and tricks, things we've observed in 30-plus years of helping in-house media production studios. Stay with us. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. I'll share with you in my 30-plus years in video production, I have had the chance to work with a number of in-house creative services departments. And typically, in-house creative service departments can provide a tremendous amount of value to the business or organization that they are serving. And today, I want to talk about tips and tricks for managing an in-house video production company. In a sense, if you're running creative services within an organization, you're running a video production company or a photography studio. And of course, your clients are all of the other members of the company, the employees, maybe vendors, maybe other partners that might come into your studio to create content. Here's a couple things I have observed. The big one is that in a financial downturn, unfortunately, for those who are working in an in-house creative services department, in a financial downturn, frequently this is the first thing to be cut. So the trend tends to be that I've noticed in 3 decades in this business, that when things are good, that companies or organizations believe they can save money by setting up creative services internally. And here's how it works. If you have more than 50 employees or more than 100 employees in one central organization, one central location, and you are doing a lot of video content, it makes sense to have creative services under one roof, under the same roof as the rest of the organization. It's very efficient. Obviously, if somebody can walk down the hall or get in the elevator and go up or down to the studio and record content, do their headshot, do a photography project, this is very efficient. Versus, let's say, outsourcing it where they need to go to a company, a studio outside. And it depends on, of course, how much video content you're doing, if it makes sense. But the reality is, in a financial downturn, in a recession, companies tend to eliminate their internal creative services department and then outsource it. And what I've thought in all of the years of watching companies build up departments, and then if there's a downturn, cut everybody, and then as things improve, they bring new people in or this, create it again. What I've noticed is that a lot of internal organizations are doing it successfully by having a group that are producers and then managing a bunch of creative services vendors for different projects. In other words, if a company were to hire a videographer and buy all of this equipment, let's say, then it's possible, and this happens, that every video project might have the same style, the same look, or a company buys a certain amount of equipment, and then all of the content requirements, all of the things that need to be done need to fit into whatever this equipment is capable of producing, whatever this particular videographer skill set is. Everything needs to be conform, let's say, to what that person's skill set is or what the limitations of this collection of equipment are. So in a lot of cases, I have witnessed internal creative services departments put together a team of professionals, and typically they would have post-production in-house. And what they would do is have a number of different camera crews on a list of vendors. So here's how they do it. If they have something that's for social media and they have a wonderful freelancer, maybe somebody just out of college, and that person has a camera on a gimbal and the GH5 style DSLR, and that person is really good at what you would call the run and gun, then they have this creative professional they can go to for those kinds of assignments. And then, of course, they might have a larger camera crew, like a production company that has a whole team that they go to for bigger interviews, production videos, product videos, something larger. And then what a lot of these creative services departments are doing that are in-house is they're managing all of the pre-production and planning and script writing and understanding what the project is, the scope of the project. And then they have their vendors, that different photographers and videographers that can help them on the day of the shoot, the production day. And then they manage all of the footage, editing, putting it all together, distribution, posting, social media, all of that. And this is a really effective way to really deliver a lot of value to the organization or business that you're working for, is to focus on the pre-production and the post-production and outsource all of the, or some of the production, on location production. Now, of course, you'll have a videographer on staff, let's say, and that person is capable of doing, let's say, 60% of what needs to be done. And so you have the other 40%, some maybe on the high end with a really high-end camera crew, and maybe you only get to do this once a year. Maybe they're only once or twice a year is there a budget to do a really big project. And then frequently you might have a need for that vendor or a videographer on the other end of the scale where it's a social media project and you just need some video coverage. I always think of like the event videographer. You know, it's always a wonderfully talented, aspiring filmmaker or somebody that goes out and is in the wedding video business. Anybody in the wedding video business, generally very good at capturing things in the moment, because of course, if the wedding videographer has one chance to get it right, and if they're doing that every Saturday, they're probably pretty good at covering a corporate event or maybe a groundbreaking ceremony, a ribbon cutting. Think of all the things that we do in creative services that are those moments where you have one chance to get the shot, almost like a news photographer or photojournalist. This action is happening, whether you get it or not. There is no, hey, do that again, take two. So I think of the event videographers and all of those crews of professionals that can capture that in the moment. You need those, but maybe you don't need to have one on staff. And then, of course, on the other end, like we were saying, you need a video production company that's a whole team. And maybe they're shooting on ARRI or Red, or they're shooting in 8K. They have a truck. They have one phone call gets you a crew with the grip truck and the whole team and craft services and the makeup person. Is just one call, and you have a team ready for a major shoot. And so again, in my experience, to have an internal creative services department that has that perfect right down the middle, everything, your daily operations, and then have a list of vendors. And that's my tip. That's what I've observed. And of course, as we know, in the media business and video production, the editing is the backlog. It is essential, if you have in-house creative services, that you have that editor, and that editor doubles as the media manager. What we'll leave you with today is the idea of asset management. So if you have your pre-production team in-house, these are the producers, script writers. These are the people coming up with the plan for what the content is going to be that the in-house department is going to be creating and delivering to the organization. And of course, the post-production team, they're tasked with remembering where all the video is, remembering where all the raw footage is, keeping the archives, and keeping all of the project files. And you think about how much money you can save when an internal department repurposes video and photography. And when you are that internal person and you have all those assets at your fingertips, think about how you can deliver things reformatted, changed. Think about how often you might have a video that all you need to do to reuse it for the following event, the following year, maybe especially a promotional piece on social media, is change dates. If it's an event, if it's a trade show, you might pull from previous years. Of course, repurposing video and photography is a great way for an internal department to really deliver savings and efficiency to an organization. So what we'll leave you with is you've got to have an editor, and that editor needs to be the person that's archiving, knows where all the bodies are buried, as they say. So that's the thought on where we are with our observations on internal creative services. And as a person who has always been on the outside serving clients, I like them all, of course. We have served internal video production departments by supplying talent, editors, support. Every internal video production and photography department needs support. They need to be able to, when times get busy, go to vendors when the requests come in. And of course, we've worked for ad agencies and we've worked for companies that don't have any internal creative at all. And so I see the value in having an internal creative services department, even if it's just one person. A lot of smaller businesses might have an internal creative services person, and that person is responsible for the script writing and the pre-production, and then listening to all of the needs, doing all of the intake of marketing people, and HR comes down to the creative services person and says, we need to do this, we need to do this. And then, of course, that one person can't do all of the shooting. They can't do all of the recording every meeting or recording every event. They need some outside help. And, of course, they can't do all of the editing either. So, again, our company has been in a position to be able to supply editors and talent to in-house creative services departments. So we always have a special place in our heart for those who are on the payroll at an organization and responsible for all of the internal media, all of the creative services. I hope what I've shared has been helpful. We certainly appreciate you watching, and of course, subscribe and follow and like and do all of those things. And we'll continue to bring you tips and tricks here in the media business, which we love.